The views and opinions of this broadcast do not reflect the views and opinions of Armed Media, New Productions and its affiliates. Enjoy the show.
Hello everybody out there tonight. Thanks for tuning into my show, All Aboard. My name is Donald Whisman. I've got a couple special guests here tonight. I've got Jim Bell. Jimmy, you want to say hello?
Hello everybody.
And I've got Les Skymo. Les, you want to say hello to everybody?
Hello everybody. Hello world.
Hello world. And as always, I want to send my prayers out to all the men and women serving in our great military, the United States military, the best military in the world. I want to say thank you to all of our country's veterans, past and present. Job well done, you guys. And also, if you support President Trump and you consider yourself a patriot, please join our Facebook group. That's Trump 2020 exclamation point. Just don't forget that exclamation point. That's what sets us aside from all them other groups. And we try to keep the trolls out, you guys. Our group is growing. And we'll take some calls tonight. If we're not really deep in the conversation. I know Les can get deep sometimes, and it just depends. So in about a half hour, if you'd like to call, the number is 1-800-508-5431. Like I always say, I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat. If you hate us or love us, give us a call. And I just want to say that united we stand, divided we fall. Freedom is not free. We are the land of the free because of the brave. Don't tread on me and let freedom ring. Life without liberty is like a body without spirit. We can't all be Washingtons, but we can all be patriots, you guys. And that's the truth. And
Amen,
I'll tell you,
brother.
unless this is something I've never done on. I did it today on my first live video, and I've never done it on my radio show. But before I do that, I want to thank Joe Rocks again for giving me the opportunity to have my own show here on Armed Radio. I think it's a wonderful opportunity for any of us, Les, you and Jimmy, for us to be able to voice our opinion and let the country and most of the world know how we feel. So thank you, Joe Rocks. And but I've never done this on my show, but I want to do this tonight. I've never asked anybody for anything, but tonight I'd like to reach out to everyone out there listening, and if they could, I want to try to get people to help me save my friend's home. My friend, his name is Darrell Whisman. It's Darrell Whisman, Whisman. Now, Les, you know about my friend. He lives in a school over there. It's an old school. That's his home. Him and his wife, Brenda, they're wonderful people, Les, and the thing is Darrell bought this school on a land contract, Les and Jimmy, and for years, I guess the guy he bought it from wasn't paying the taxes, so it went up on auction, and the original owner come and bought it back, and then tried to charge Darrell. He's trying to charge Darrell more for the school than Darrell originally paid for it. And the reason why this school is so important, Les, to me and to the community is because Darrell opens that school up over there for the community. I mean, he lets fire departments train in there, Les. He lets police departments train in there. There's two major trailer courts. You've been over by the school, Les. You've seen them.
Yeah, right,
you got two major trailer parks there. And this man and his wife, Brenda Whisman, they opened that school up during adverse weather. They opened the doors up to the public. I mean, for tornado warnings. There's no basements in them trailers, you guys. And if they could save one life, it would be worth paying for that school. He holds he has all kinds of functions at that school. He's really for his community, and that school is part of this man. And all you got to do if you want to help, like I said, his name is Darrell Whisman, and you go on Facebook and donate. It's free. You don't even have to have a PayPal or a GoFundMe account anymore. You go right on Facebook, and it's private. I think you go on Messenger. You can do it right on Messenger. He's got an open Facebook page, And you can donate through Facebook now. I didn't know if you know that, Les, but they got it through Facebook now.
That's what I'm trying to do right now, is get it through Facebook. My own...
I think they got to have your, like, a bank account number or something, Les. But
well,
Les, I know you started your own foundation, Les, and this on my show tonight. We probably got different listeners. I know you got your own show tomorrow night at 7 called Unscheduled. But Les, you're more than welcome to tell all of my listeners out there about your foundation for your son.
Well, real quick, Donald.
You don't have to make it quick, Les. You don't have to make it quick.
All right. It's Christopher Lee Foundation. Now, what that's about, Donald, back in 1982, I lost a son from cancer. And it was he fought a long battle, had 2 major surgeries, and taken tumors out of him, off of his liver and off of his lungs. They took part of one lung out. But about 8 months later, it come back in his brain. And Christopher, he's, passed away. And there's a whole lot to it, Donald. It's got a remarkable story.
It is a sad story.
Well, it is, and I'm not alone. There's millions that have lost children from this cancer, and I've had cancer myself. Donald, you've had cancer?
Me too, brother.
So it's touched a lot of people, it's afflicted a lot of people. But anyway, Donald, all these years later, just a few months ago, I decided, me and the family, to start a foundation to raise funds for families with children that have cancer, and they're fighting that battle. And what we want to do, Donald, is reach out and help the families, any way we can. And we also, if we could generate enough money, we would like to donate to St. Jude's. And
that's a wonderful, wonderful place, St. Jude is. That's all free to the children, isn't it?
Yeah, right. And the Shriners, nobody gets a bill from them.
That's the burn victim, right, Shriners?
Yeah. Well, and they also do orthopedic work. I talked to Chris Fitzwater. He's had 2 daughters go through the Shriners with hip surgeries. And he said they treated them like gold, and it's a great organization. Also, he told me there's a children's hospital in New Orleans. It's the same way. They treat children, nobody gets a bill. And it takes millions and millions and millions of dollars to run these organizations. But what we're a 501c3. Me and the family, it's not a quick thing to set up a 501c3. It's a lot of paperwork dealing with the state government, federal government. We bit the bullet, and the family spent all the money. It's pretty expensive to do all this. So, we take no money, 100% personal money, Donald. 100% of all donations goes to the cause. Nobody takes any salaries. Nobody takes any money. 100% of your donation goes to the cause. It's also 100% tax deductible. And, you can, like I say, we're trying to get our button fixed up on Facebook right now. And IRS kind of shorted us. There was some paperwork they were supposed to have done, and they didn't do it. And but I had to call them, and it delayed everything by about 2 to 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And, we're trying to get up on Facebook too. Our button up there,
Yeah, that's all private too, and they, you can donate that privately through Messenger, I think, and nobody even knows who's you and the person. But Les, I bet you your son is up there. I bet he's so proud of you for what you're doing. I mean, cancer is something horrible, and I don't know if Jimmy's ever been around cancer, but or even having a member of his family having cancer, but it's a horrible thing. And if anybody just reaches out to you, it does mean so much to the family.
Oh,
It's a struggle, Les, but
Right. Well, right now, Donald, until we get our button on our Facebook, which hopefully will be within another week, and GoFundMe. I'm trying to get that set up. And I'm planning to trying to organize some events later on in the summer. But anyway, Donald, if anybody would like to donate to that, they could stop by any Huntington bank and walk right in the bank and tell them you want to make a donation to Christopher Lee Foundation. Now here's the kicker. Okay, we spelled his name different than the regular Christopher Lee. His name is spelled Christifer, not Phifer, but T-I. It's spelled just like it sounds.
Christopher, yes.
Christopher. So we straightened up the English language there a little bit.
Well, anyway, Les, that's a wonderful thing, and me, I'm trying to help my friend out, and his name is Daryl Whisman again, and that's Christopher Lee. So it's just, I mean, I know Daryl doesn't have cancer, but the thing is about Daryl's not in the best of health right now, Les. I'm afraid if he loses that school, I think it'd kill him. I think it'd kill him because he loves that school over there. But anyway, I guess we can get this show started and start talking about some things that's been happening here the last week. There's been a lot of stuff, but before we get started, I want to tell you this. We got into this cancer talk, but I got a call yesterday. It's all funny. I got a call from an insurance guy yesterday wanting to sell me life insurance, okay? So he had me on the computer and typing in my height and weight. And as soon as I told him I had cancer back in 2010, it kicked him out of the computer. He wouldn't even allow to give me a quote. He said, I got to wait 10 years before I can even apply for insurance, Les. That's horrible. I mean, what? It's not your fault because you get cancer.
You're high risk. You're high risk.
That's what happens if I die. Then the burden's on my family. I can't buy insurance.
Yeah. Well, now see, me being a disabled veteran with the disease I had, Donald, I had to buy high risk insurance myself.
Probably expensive, though, isn't it? Probably expensive.
Yeah, it is. It's expensive, but now, I was only able to buy like $10,000 worth. So,
and that's not even enough to put a man away, Les.
So,
it's almost like you get penalized for getting sick. It is.
Yeah, you do. The corporate world.
I mean, that's wrong, Les. It's wrong.
They look at it. They're taking a risk on you, Donald.
Right.
And so they're in it for the money, like anybody else, brother. And that's your corporation. And I know it sounds bad when they tell you that, Donald, and I know it sucks.
It's almost like it's a death thing. Like, if I'm going to die, you won't insure me?
Right. That's why it's so important when your baby's born, get life insurance
before it gets
and health insurance on that baby when it's born.
If it's not got any health problems when it's born. I mean, I don't even know what they would do if your kid's born with health problems.
I'm not
unless
sure.
you've already got insurance, you're on the wife or something. But it's bad all the way around, Les. It's all about money. Like you said, everything is about money nowadays.
Yeah, always has been, Donald, always will be. It's up to me and you and the rest of the civilization to reach out and to help one another,
Well, you're probably like me, Les. I mean, you probably don't care what they do with you after I don't want to be cremated, but
I'm going to be buried.
It's more for the family. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Me and the wife's got everything prearranged, Donald. Everything that pertaining to me when I die is going to be fast. I want my kids to get back to work, get back to their normal life, and think about me every once in a while. But
right, don't stop their life. Just celebrate the life that you live.
That's right. Yeah, and
don't move on. Les, I don't even want to cough, and I'd rather just dig a hole and throw me back in the dirt and let me go back to which I came from.
Well, hey, bud, they got these pods they can put you in that grow these trees,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, Les, we'll get to some politics now. We'll get to some politics.
Do it, brother.
All right, Les. As everybody knows, yesterday President Trump announced Brett Kavanaugh as his nominee to replace the retiring Supreme Court Justice Anthony Kennedy. Now, this Brett Kavanaugh, he's 53 years old. I think he graduated from Yale. if he gets now he's got to go through the Senate, right? He's got to go through the Senate and get confirmed, all right?
Well, he's got to have all these hearings first.
Well, yeah, but the thing is now, it used to be 60 votes in the Senate. You know, there's 100 senators. They would get 2 per state. And right now, as of right now, we got 51 Republican senators and 49 Democratic senators. I think a couple of them are like independents, but that's like Bernie. There's 2 independents. I think Bernie and somebody else. But now I'm here's what I was reading this article that said John McCain, he's unlikely to cast a vote, Les. So that puts the Republicans down. I don't know what would it be, 50, 49, but they need 51 votes. So what happened?
Well, we don't need him. I'm sure. See, you got I think it's 11 states, something like that, Donald, that President Trump won by a wide majority, and West Virginia is one of them, and that governor, I'm sorry.
Jim Justice, is that the governor?
No, the senator.
Senator, that's governor. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I got mixed up too. That senator, I can't think of his name, brother, but he's up for re-election, and
Manchin,
that's it, Manchin. Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you, Jimmy.
And and I think President Trump won that state big time. It was way up there, but he won it by 40-something,
so
46 points or something.
This is a Democratic senator, right?
Joe Manchin's his name, Joe Manchin.
All right.
So I'm sure he's going to vote for this nominee.
Well, we got
Kavanaugh.
The Republican Party, though, they've got a little worries on their hand, though. In the Senate right now, I couldn't remember their names, but these are Republican senators. Jimmy remembered their name earlier, that they're really watching these 2 because they're on the bubble of leaning left.
Oh, yeah.
What was their names, Jimmy? Jimmy?
What's that?
What was those 2 senators, those Republican senators that could say
that not going to vote is Susan Collins and Claire McCaskill.
Yeah, McCaskill.
Yes. I wish I wrote that down. I'm glad you remembered that.
Collins
Jimmy.
and McCaskill. Yeah, they're liberals. They're pretty much John McCain's with a dress on.
So we need 2 Democrats. Manchin might be one of them.
Yeah.
And if we can get another, then we got him in. At 50 vote, and the vice president will make it 51.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about the vice president. If it ties up, he could cast that last vote there. Yeah,
I don't know how they're going to tie it up, though, because McCain's not in. So there's 49 Democrats and 50 Republicans.
Right.
Well, what happens now? Why is John McCain, can't he cast his vote from home? Or
no, he can't because he's not there.
He's got to be in the
Yeah,
chamber.
you literally got to be there.
So why doesn't he give his job up and let somebody else take over?
Because he's a dick and he hates Trump, and that's why he's being an asshole.
That's wrong, though. He's not able to vote less than Jimmy. He should let somebody else. And what is it, Arizona? I'm sure they would vote in another Republican senator down there.
Well, they don't work that way, brother. That prestige and power, they hold on that to their dying breath. That's just like I've seen Byrd, Senator Byrd. They rolled him in there, man, and he was so incoherent. He couldn't even hold his head up.
Look at Ginsburg, Ruth Ginsburg, the Supreme Court Justice, Ruth Ginsburg.
Well,
she needs to do the right thing and step down, Les. She needs to step down.
She's not going to.
If Trump gets in for a second term, she ain't going to last that long. He's going to end up replacing her, too.
Now, I'm not wishing for death here, guys. Don't get me wrong. I'm not wishing for anybody to die.
She's sleeping on the job, shitting her pants.
How can she go on, Lester and Jimmy? How can she go on another?
She's senile. She's got to be.
Well, it's you got to look at it's them type of people, Donald. That's what they do. Okay, there's no explanation for it.
So she's got to hold out, hoping that a Democratic will win the presidency in 2020. Is that what she's holding out for?
I don't know what she's holding out. She's going to hold out, hoping Trump gets impeached or somebody assassinates him or something. It's their mindset, Donald, is they don't think like a normal human being. They got a disease. Liberalism is a disease, and it's eating their brain. It's like mad cow disease. They just stumble around like a bunch of zombies, and they just gnash and just claw at everything they see that they come in contact with that they don't agree with.
They're such pleasant people.
Yes, they are.
Yes, pleasant. But listen to this one. Dig this, you guys. As soon as Trump, not long, immediately following the announcement from President Trump that conservative Judge Brett Kavanaugh is his pick for Supreme Court Justice, Hillary Clinton, she weighed in on a tweet, you guys. Now, you guys, oh yes, you ought to hear what she said here. She's expressing that Trump doesn't care about kids.
Yeah.
I'm going to read this to you. Here's what Hillary Clinton wrote. How many ways can this administration show us they don't care about kids? Another example of rejecting science and putting corporate interests before babies. There are the stories that will get lost in the shuffle and do a lasting damage to the people everywhere. I mean, she's just totally against him picking Kavanaugh for Supreme babies. She's talking about Trump not caring for babies. At least he's not for abortions. That's what kills me about her.
They have no. This is fake anger. It's false. They get the weak-minded and they get their useful idiots wound up into a frenzy, and it's just like a bunch of piranhas, Donald. The Democrat leadership, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama's, the kerosene waters, and all that.
Well, vaccines inciting violence out here in our country.
Donald, they are masters at stirring up trouble and manipulating weak-minded people that don't think for themselves. When you got a man that goes to a college and asks what they think about President Trump's pick for Supreme Court, and he ain't even picked him yet, and they go off on some big tangent like, well, I knew he would pick a racist, I knew it, and they haven't even been, they're lying through their teeth. They are programmed, these protesters and things, Donald, they're already programmed to lash out against a conservative. The truth makes no difference. It doesn't matter. Nothing, reality don't matter to these people. And the leaders, the Maxine Waters, the Chuck Schumers, they know this. They have these people right where they want them, brother. And you see the blacks, I love to see these conservative blacks on Facebook. They're leaving the plantation in droves, brother. And not only them, the Hispanics, they're like, wait a minute, oh, you haven't done anything but lie to us. You know, it's a beautiful thing to watch, Don.
Oh, you know what? In Hillary Clinton, believe it or not, she's considering another run in 2020 for president. Can you believe that?
Bring it on, brother.
It'll never happen.
Nah.
It's awful, and I just hope Brett Kavanaugh, I hope he gets nominated and confirmed, and I hope it goes smoothly. Good luck to him on that, and I think it will. I think it'll go.
Well, it boiled down to the last four out of that list of 25, and he put that list of 25 out a long time ago, Donald. But I like, and there again, my memory fails me. That lady that he had up there, she had 7 kids. She's a mother also of 7 children, and I really wanted him to pick her. Because she would have been great for the abortion issue. She's a devout Catholic, and devout Catholics don't believe in abortion and a lot of things, you know. But this Kavanaugh, they say Brett Kavanaugh is a strict constitutionalist. And Donald, you know, that's where you see the most, that's the highlight of what our founding fathers designed for this country, because at the Supreme Court is almost the only place, that's almost the only place where you really see the Constitution makes a difference.
Well,
When you look at what the states and stuff's doing to us, Donald, so many unconstitutional things.
We're going to get into that, Les. I got some questions on that. But, Les, all these justices, I don't care if they're Republican or Democrat, by golly, they're put there to be servants of the Constitution.
Exactly.
They are servants of that Constitution, and not only the Supreme Court justices, but I'm going to say the President. He's a servant to the Constitution. The representatives, senators, they should be servants of that Constitution. And Les, I heard a story. Now, I don't know. I think it's right up there where Jimmy, kind of close to Jimmy. I think it's Boston. They're trying to pass a law right now where non-citizens can vote in local elections. And I was looking, and I guess it's not unconstitutional to do that, Les. They just
yes,
can't vote
it is.
federal.
It definitely is. They're not supposed to have illegal aliens in the country. Never mind giving voting rights.
Right.
Well, it's happening, Jimmy. I think there's other cities that they're allowed to vote in local elections.
Sanctuary cities, too. They're not constitutional. It just takes a while to get to the Supreme Court.
Right.
That's the problem. They can't ever make it to the Supreme Court. These appellate courts hear more cases.
Well, that's, the appellate courts is kind of a buffer.
Man.
And these things will eventually make it too. Now, there's a judge, this Judge Campbell that's up there. She ordered, her order stated that non-U.S. citizens paid $116 million in state tax, and local tax generated over $3.4 million in spending, according to a 2015 city report. And what she is saying is they should be allowed to vote in the local elections, township, city council, thing like that, because they pay the taxes. Well, hey, I don't agree with that. I agree with Jimmy on that. This is totally, brothers, this is totally unconstitutional. There's no way no matter how you cut it, and I pray, Donald, that this gets to the Supreme Court, brother, because
I'm reading this thing, though, Les. I'm reading this article right now. I looked this up because I wanted to know if it says right here, the federal law does not prohibit non-citizens from voting in state or local elections, but no state has allowed non-citizens to vote in a state election since Arkansas became the last state to outlaw non-citizen voting. I guess it says 11 local governments, 10 of them in Maryland, allow non-citizens to vote in their local elections.
Well,
can't the government step in, like Jimmy said? Does it have to make it to the Supreme Court to stop them from breaking the Constitution?
Yes, it'll have to go to the Supreme Court, Donald, because that law alone, that's the key word, federal law. There's a lot of federal laws on the books that's unconstitutional, that nobody's challenged, that people has just lived with. But this just because it's a law doesn't mean that it's constitutional. Now, Donald, look at all the unconstitutional things that our state does to us. But me and you, unless we find a lawyer that will do it for free, they run ripshod over us because they can, because they know that we don't have the power to fight them back.
Well, Les, I know you believe like me. I do believe in states' rights. But when it comes to breaking that Constitution, the law of the land, I know states has even got their own constitutions. I'm talking about the Constitution that our founding fathers wrote. When them states start breaking that Constitution, that's when I don't know why it should wait on the Supreme Court. These appellate courts should uphold the Constitution, Les.
Well,
they should uphold that.
It has to be challenged, Donald, to set precedent. You hear about that all the time. Set precedent. What that is it's a similar or the same conclusion of one court case after another pertaining to the same thing or something similar. And once precedent has been set, it takes a whole lot, brother, for another judge to go against precedent. Now, it has happened. Okay, but now, our founding fathers, Donald, when they set up this country, United States of America, our 50 states are supposed to be a patchwork. All 50 states is not supposed to be alike. Every state is supposed to make its own law.
Right.
However, all 50 states is under the jurisdiction now of the
Federal
courts,
Constitution.
of the federal courts and the Constitution. Everything leads to the Supreme Court, brother. And so, but when a state passes a law that's unconstitutional, okay, it gets challenged just like the government makes an unconstitutional law. And if the Supreme Court decides to hear it, then they decide whether it's good law or not.
Well, I guess there's where the problem lies then, Les. It's the time it takes to get to the Supreme Court.
Right. And like I said, the federal government, our representatives that we put so much trust in, most of them are nothing but vipers and thieves, and that's on both sides of the aisle. I have almost zero confidence in very few politicians. There's a few out there, but not very many, brother. I have a pretty low opinion of a lot of politicians, and it's because they caused it. Okay, it ain't something that I just pull out of thin air. They caused me to feel this way. And
well, would you say that a lot of them go there with good intentions, but since there's no term limits, I think after a while they lose that good intention. They get bought off. That's why we need term limits on some of these people.
Well,
just like the Supreme Court. Do you think that should be a lifetime position, Les? Honestly, a lifetime.
Probably so, Donald. Probably so.
I got so mad earlier, I unplugged my microphone. I couldn't hear you. When I started talking about Hillary Clinton, I got mad, and then I accidentally unplugged my microphone.
Got all tore up.
Yeah, but Les, today, I don't know if you know about today. Well, you do. President Trump he pardoned Dwight Hammond and his son Stephen Hammond today. And they were convicted of arson back in, what was it, 2013 or something like that?
Here. Yeah.
Now they served their original sentence, Les. They served their original sentence. I mean, they were convicted. I think Dwight served 3 months and Stephen served a year. But then
that was the first time.
Ruled their sentence, but an appellate judge ruled in 2015 that the terms they served were too short under federal minimum sentencing laws. And the Hammonds were sentenced to serve the mandatory minimum. How could they bring it back and do that, Les?
Yeah, well, that because it went from state to federal, and because of the sentencing guidelines. Now I'm pretty sure I'm right about this. They prosecuted them. The government prosecuted these people under a terrorism law, okay, and that was 5-year minimum for an arsonist.
That's what they got too, wasn't it? At the last trial, 5 years.
Okay, but here's what happened. Now there's 2 or 3 different stories about this. Okay, but the one that the Hammonds told, and I prefer to believe the Hammonds, they were setting backfires, okay, to the BLM come in there and set a bunch of fires to burn the land off. And as you know, when you burn land off, the lush green comes back and it's beautiful and it's good for grazing for all animals that eats grass and plants and things. But BLM supposedly now set all these fires to burn off federal land. Now, it's a common practice to set back fires. What you do is you start a fire on your own property, and it burns toward the other fire. And what that does when these two fires... That's right. Now, what they done, they set these backfires, and it accidentally burnt up about 100 acres of federal land. Now,
big deal. As long as nobody got killed, big deal.
Well, see, now there's where your overreach comes in. Now, you got to remember, Donald, back during when this happened, when all this was going on, Barack Obama was in office.
Yes.
Hillary Clinton was in bed with the Russians with uranium one. Okay, they had before this they had seized the Bundy's cattle at the Wash in Nevada, and all this dirty stuff was going on to try to take these ranchers' farms and their grazing rights from them, so that Hillary and them could sell uranium to the Russians.
Our enemies.
That's exactly what, in my mind, what this was all about. And then when they arrested the Hammonds the second time, and this judge, this prosecutor, give them the 5 years, and this federal judge.
That's hogwash in your words, Les.
Exactly, it is. And they was done dirty, brother, and it was to break the family so they'd have to sell their land back to the government. And
hey, Les, listen to this, though. This woman, her name's Amanda Marshall. She was Oregon's U.S. attorney then.
Yeah.
She said she was disturbed by Trump's pardons, for the Hammonds.
Yeah.
She said it means there's no conviction. The conviction doesn't exist. She said that's a slap in the face to the Constitution. My God! What they did was a slap in the face to the American people, the patriots of this country.
Up in Nevada, there's even Harry Reid's son was even involved in this, and he made some deals with China that still needs to be investigated.
Well, Les, how come they're all down in Trump for giving the Hammonds this clemency, this pardon, but nobody ever said anything about? I think Obama, he gave over 1,700 clemencies or pardons.
Hundreds.
And most of them individuals that he granted executive clemency, they were convicted on drug charges.
Yeah.
And they received long and sometimes mandatory sentence at the height of the war on drugs.
Right.
Nobody said anything about when Obama gave presidential pardons, but when Trump does it, oh, look out. He's an evil man. He's evil,
brother, all you got to do, Donald, is just look at which party they're affiliated with. That's all you got to do. And when they arrested the Hammonds, that's when Ryan and Ammon Bundy went and took over the Malyard wildlife refuge there in Harney County up in Oregon.
Well, Dwayne Emer needs to be released too. I think
yeah. They all need to be pardoned. Hellboy died? Yeah.
He died. He probably missed, what was his name? Dwayne Emer. And all he did was dig a ditch to save his life.
He just dug a foxhole, and that Dan Love that was head of the Bureau of Land Management, he stole a lot of them Indian artifacts. He done a lot of dirty things to make it look like they had destroyed Indian artifacts and things. And
he don't deserve to be in prison, Les.
No, they don't. They was framed, brother. They was set up, and just like the Bundys was, brother. It was all about the federal government seizing their land
and making money,
personal money, not for the BLM or not for the government, but these people was getting money.
See, Les, they should be in prison for that.
They should be in prison.
If that was you, you would have went to prison, Les.
Harry Reid, his son, the Obamas, the Clintons, every one of them, go all the way back to Lois Lerner on the IRS. They have weaponized these federal organizations where Congress don't even have the power. It don't look to me like they have no teeth to have these people arrested like a Rosensteins and the Schrocks and all these people doing what they're doing and not giving papers over. Well, go all the way back to Waco and Ruby Ridge, brother.
Yeah.
Our federal government
Well, that's
is
overreach.
full
That's
of professional killers that
Overreach.
will kill innocent American people, and I'll say that to the day I die, brother.
Well, they were overreaching their powers. Lest they was overreaching their boundaries.
Hey.
They had no right to go in there on that Ruby Ridge and do what he did to that guy.
No,
and even everybody
they set him up.
Chris was a bad guy. I really don't know Chris out there at Waco. I really don't know. But I do believe they didn't have a right to go in there and start shooting them up. Maybe it was something to do with a gun charge. Why didn't they just go up and knock on the door instead of raiding and shooting the place?
That's what he invited them to do, Donald. I kept up with them cases day after day after day.
I know they said he
kept
had
up
sex
with
with
them.
children, but
They set them up. I don't care who set the fires, Donald. The government escalated that. They pushed that and pushed that.
That was Janet Reno's deal there, wasn't it?
That was Janet Reno's deal. And you notice how the place burnt down to burn up all the evidence?
It went up too quick, didn't it, Les?
Hey,
it
look,
went up like boom.
I listened to a man that was a former FBI agent, and he was a CIA agent. I listened to him the other night. Now, just on Waco, four ATF agents was killed at Waco. All right.
How many people were killed though in that compound?
80-something. The government burnt and killed. These four. Now listen to this, Donald. These four Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms officers that was killed. All four of them was shot in the head. One of them was shot in the top of the head. The bullet come out of his bottom lip and went through his torso. Now that's a helicopter shot right there. And
that's what it sounds like.
You watch them films and you see helicopters buzzing around that compound.
We don't know the truth. We'll never know the truth.
Now here's the icing on the cake, brother. This CIA agent, former CIA agent, the whistleblower, he said all four of them ATF agents at one time was Bill Clinton's bodyguards.
Wow.
Okay, now I'm just telling you what the man said now, and I don't think a career man like that would lie about it.
I don't see why you make up something like that, no less.
Hey,
but,
deep state's been in our government for a long time, brother.
I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I do believe in that deep state stuff. I do. But now, I don't know if you know this, but President Trump, he's planning to go to Great Britain later this week, I think. This is going to be his first trip over as president, and it seems to me like there's a lot of people in Britain, just like here at home, that don't like our president. Now listen, Rudy Giuliani told the mayor of London he should spend more time dealing with crime in his city and less worrying about the U.S. president's visit. Now listen to this. This all comes after the mayor of London, this is a mayor of London, granted permission for a 20-foot-tall inflatable blimp which depicts Mr. Trump as a baby in a nappy. And they was going to fly this over Parliament during the president's visit. Now, Rudy said the mayor of London should be ashamed of himself. Should be ashamed of himself.
If I'm not mistaken, ain't he a Muslim?
His name is Sadiq Khan. So what do you think?
He's a Muslim.
Sadiq is Sadiq Khan, Khan. That sounds Muslim to me.
I'm pretty sure the man's a Muslim. Donald, when you have women being raped in the streets, in the subways,
when
they have what's his name that they arrested? Oh gosh, man, Tommy.
I tried to hit my tongue for doing a live Facebook video or something.
They got him in prison, subjecting him to threats on his life for speaking up about what the Muslims is doing to that country, and the government.
Got a call. You mean to take the call, Les?
Take it, brother. Yeah.
All right. Thanks for calling all aboard. Can I get your first name and what state you're calling from?
Chris from Louisiana.
All right, Chris, what's up, buddy? Make it quick, because we got a few more things we want to talk about, buddy.
I got one question, man. Why don't you little aliens have more rights than we do?
What was that? What was that, Chris?
Why does legal have more rights than what the American people do?
Why do Muslims have more rights than the American people?
Why does the legal aliens, the legal immigrants have more rights than what we do?
The immigrants. You're talking about immigrants of this country.
Yeah.
All right, well, me and Les will talk about that right now, Chris, all right? We'll see if we can't figure this out, because I think you're right. But thanks for calling, Chris. I'll get a hold of you later, buddy. Bye, Chris. Well, Les, if you heard Chris, I know he couldn't...
Oh, yeah.
It does seem like immigrants is getting... I don't know if they got more rights, but it seems... Not through the conservatives' eyes, but
Right.
to the Democrats, yes, I think they want them for votes, truthfully. But Les, I'll tell you what, brother. I'll be 49 years old here in a few weeks, and I have never, ever in my life seen so much hatred toward a sitting president and his supporter, Les. There was this man arrested here last week, threatening to kill Trump supporters. There was another man that said he was attacked and dragged by a car for supporting Trump. And then there was that Texas teenager that got attacked in a restaurant for wearing a MAGA hat. Les,
Yeah.
what is going on here? What's going on?
Well, I tell you what, violence begets violence, and that's like these Antifa. I've seen a couple of films here lately. Antifa got the crap beat out of them. And Donald, I tell you what, brother, as a man, and this goes for any man that has a family that's Trump supporters, it is your duty to protect your family, protect your children, and I'll go one step further, Donald. I've got dignity, and I will not swallow my dignity for these people, brother, and cow down to them. I have rights as an American-born citizen.
Absolutely.
Hey, and I tell you
Our
what, brother.
God-given rights in this country. Our God-given rights.
Well, and
Inalienable rights.
I'm a peaceful man. I love God. I'm a preacher. I'm a Christian. But woe be unto you, brother. You come up to hurt my family, you will regret it, brother.
Well,
that's all I can tell the little Antifas. And if I got my Trump hat on, somebody get a broke arm.
Well, Les, you said this at the beginning of the show. I know we're running out of time here, but we wanted to tell everyone, if anybody ain't already heard, that all 12 of them boys and their football coach have been rescued from that cave over in northern Thailand. I think they was trapped in there for more than 2 weeks, Les.
Oh, yeah.
Underground.
Yeah. I seen a video. There's a video on floating around on Facebook that they put out that shows them on a stretcher. They brought them guys out on a stretcher underwater, Donald, with oxygen on and everything, and there was like 4 guys, and they was struggling to get some of them passages. Man,
That's
I tell you what,
man.
but now, if you watch that video, you'll see heroes in action, brother.
Just like Baby Jessica. Remember her back in, I think it was the 80s or maybe early 90s that got trapped in Texas?
Yeah,
Remember her?
yeah.
That oil pipe or whatever? But Chris, I want to thank Chris Fitzwater for calling in. He's a good guy. Chris,
Chris, he's all right.
Listen, Chris, you're a good guy. But Les, there's something else me and you haven't talked about tonight.
Let's do it.
Jimmy Carter.
Oh,
now, listen,
boy.
I never did attack Jimmy Carter much because I know he was just a one-termer.
He's a little
he was
lonely.
kind of a lame duck. And he did okay with these Habitat for Humanity. But now, Les, he come out this past week and he shared his opinion on what Jesus would think about gay marriage and abortion.
Yeah.
Now, how can he speak for Jesus Christ? Jimmy Carter, don't put words in Jesus' mouth. Jesus' words are in the Bible, Les.
Well, and I could quote Bible all night long, but it wouldn't make no difference to a lot of people, Donald, because they're going to do what they want to do. But I will tell you this. Read the whole first book of Genesis, and when God created all the herbs and all the animals and the human beings, and he said this here, and he said the key words are multiply from your own kind. That's the key words. and the winged fowl after his kind, and God saw that it was good. Everything was to reproduce from their own kind, Donald. And
that don't mean Tom and Tom or Tom and Bill. That means Adam and Eve or Donald and Linda or Les and Penny or you know what I mean, man and woman.
Man and woman, brother. Yeah, that's what it means.
And a woman cannot reproduce with a woman.
If you can't reproduce, brother, you either have a birth defect and you can't have children, or you're homosexuals. God didn't mean it to be that way, brother. He wanted us to multiply after our own kind and replenish the earth, is what he said.
There you go. And you can't multiply by having sex with the same, whatever man or gender you are. But Les, we didn't talk about Mexico. They got a new president. He's a Democratic president.
Yeah.
Now, they're expecting a surge of illegal immigrants now, courtesy of Mexico's up-and-coming, well, he's president-elect now, but they're expecting a new surge, Les. We need to get that wall built, and we need to really think about these midterm elections coming up. We need people in there that's going to help our president, Les.
Absolutely, Donald. Now, here's the thing. Now, I don't know anything about this president. I hear he hates America.
I can't pronounce his name.
Yeah. But now here's the thing. I agree with President Trump. You don't get no court. You don't get no trial. You don't get to play the system. You come across here illegal. They point you in the other direction and send your butt right back across that Rio Grande River, and don't come back.
Don't come back.
We've got thousands of judges. It seems like. At least hundreds dealing with these cases, Donald, and we're feeding them, and we're clothing them, and we're housing them, these lawyers is coming out of the woodwork. They're choking our judicial system.
Yeah, I was going to say they are choking up our judicial system.
You know,
they're choking up our resources. Unless they do send a lot of money back to Mexico.
Well,
they
sure.
send most of their money back home.
Well, sure.
They're using us, Les.
What the problem is they get status once they cross the border.
That's the problem, Jimmy. The law needs to be
if they can stop them before they get to the border, they can turn them around and don't come in.
All they got to do.
That's why we need the wall. That's the ultimate goal.
Well, if they change the law, Jimmy, it wouldn't make no difference if they hit this soil or not. It's the law that needs to be changed.
Well, and asylum, too. That asylum stuff needs to go, too, Les.
Yeah.
We got to get rid of that asylum.
Well, they're lying about that.
Anybody can say they're in danger. Anybody can say that.
Well, see...
They're told what to say, Les. I believe they're told
well,
what to say.
they're coached. They're coached. You got the ACLU on both sides of the border coaching these people. You got all these other organizations that's anti-American that's coaching them.
Don't they care about our country? Why don't Americans be like Trump and put America first? Why do these people want to bring our people, them people in our country and make our life? We got enough trouble here, Les.
They're globalists, Don. They're globalists. They think this money, just no end to it. They think the resources is just belongs to everybody, and that's not true.
Well, Les, I heard something else too. I guess Trump is going to be telling NATO nations that the U.S. cannot be the world's piggy bank anymore.
Amen.
We're not going to go around paying for all the world's problems anymore. We got to stop it, Les.
Yeah.
It's got to stop.
Well, see, here's one thing that the Democrats...
That gets me mad, Les.
Well, that's okay, brother. I'm passionate about it. That's passion, brother, is all that is. The Democrats are underestimating the Trump voters. They're underestimating the Hispanic vote, the black vote, the Haitians, all them Haitians that Clinton stole all that money off of. They're not going to turn their back on President Trump. They're going. I tell you what.
Oh, the Clintons did them bad. They did.
Oh yeah. And not only that, one of the Clintons' buddies got caught a sex child ring over there, selling them children to a sex trade. Them Haitian children.
I don't know if you've ever noticed, but on this show, I never talk about Robert Mueller. You know why? Because I don't believe in that stuff. I don't believe there was any Russian collusion. I got sick
No.
of hearing about that. Oh, it made me puke to hear about Russian collusion. Now they're just finding different ways to hate our president and demonize this man.
Yeah.
And listen, I've always heard this since I've been a kid. They said in the future that the good will be judged as evil. And that's what they're trying to portray this man. Trump is no Messiah. I'll tell you right now, he is no Messiah. But I believe that God is using President Trump to bring his name back in this country.
Absolutely.
God used
Absolutely.
Trump has sinned before. Trump ain't no perfect person. Moses. He used Moses. Moses killed people.
Moses was a murderer, and God used him.
He uses people like that, Les.
I mean, Abraham, Abraham wasn't perfect. But Donald, that's the thing. From the very beginning of creation of man, God has always included man in his ultimate plan. That's God's goal, is for us to live with him for eternity. He's going to use us in his plan, even to write his word. He used man, fallible man, sinful man. God used him to write his own word. So,
how can a Democrat even call themselves a Christian, though, Les? If you're a full-blown Democrat and you believe in abortion and all this other stuff that they believe in, how could they call themselves Christians?
Well, it goes against the word of God, brother, and that was Jesus that said there'll come a day when they call good evil and evil good. Jesus Christ is the one that said that.
I think my mom told me that when I was a kid, that one day the good would be judged as evil. And that's happening now, Les. And I don't know, Les, that you go to church, and I don't know what you really believe in, but I believe in the Antichrist, Les. I believe one day he'll rise up, and that's that New World Order stuff. That's all that. It's got to do with that, Les.
The Antichrist spirit, it's always been here, Donald. Ever since the fall of Satan, the Antichrist spirit is here, but you see it raising up. They don't hide it anymore, Donald.
Trump is stopping it right now.
Hey, they don't hide it. The media don't hide who they are anymore.
I got my warning here, Les. If you don't mind, just take our show out with prayer, brother.
All right, Father God, thank you, Lord, for this wonderful country. Help our president, dear God, be with him. Watch over him, God, and keep your hand upon his family. Keep him safe, dear Lord. And get this Brett Kavanaugh, get him through there, dear God.
We need him.
Yes, amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Donald. I appreciate it, brother.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Yeah, you're all welcome. Good time.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Bye-bye.